Good morning. So on this episode, we install a swivel seat, strip another bolt, build a workbench, fridge chest, toilet basket, and a water enclosure, as well as start the electrical process, put in the furring strips, install the Maxxair Deluxe. Oh my God, there's so much happening. Come check it out. So we're gonna change the vlog template format. We're gonna change the vlog format a little bit. And the reason why is because I was realizing that at the end of my 2 weeks, I would have so much footage to sift through, and I just didn't have the time to knock out the vlog in the time that I have scheduled. So instead, what we're gonna do is we'll just film the time lapses. I will share with you everything via like voiceover, so that should help give you some context as to what I'm working on, how I'm approaching it, etc. Hopefully this works better. I started editing the video for this week, and it already seems like it's much shorter than previously, which is, for me, that's a good thing, I think. I don't think we need to go into like 45-minute vlogs about what the hell is happening in here. Though I have the footage for that, I just don't think I need to do that right now. So let's get building. Let's stop yapping and show you what it looks like in here. We start this episode by putting in furring strips. Furring strips are like studs in a house. They allow a wall to be put up as well as provide structural integrity for things to be anchored to the wall. Things like benches, cabinets, all that good stuff. I used rivet nuts to bolt the furring strips into place, and also used a little bit of PL in some places. PL is a strong construction adhesive, and it's made from urethane. It works really well to hold things together, like wood glued to metal. Installing the fan was pretty straightforward. I used the instructions that came with the fan itself. I also looked at how Far Out Ride also did theirs. They have some of the best van build instructions. Because I used 1/2-inch pieces of trim on the inside of the van to behave like studs to hold the fan in place, I realized that the screws that came with the fan were not long enough. The only other screws I had were deck screws, and they were 2.5 inches long. This meant that I had to cut them shorter, but because of their position so close to the roof support beams, and because there was like 18 of them, it was a little bit tricky. So I spent a lot of time doing that. If you're installing a fan on your van, make sure you measure the length of screws you need from the top of the ceiling, from the top of the roof to the bottom, so that you don't have to spend all that time cutting them shorter like I did. also wanted to mention that cutting the trim piece that comes with the van, the trim piece that goes on the inside of the van, is a bit of a pain as it's super flimsy, and you can see that I keep turning it and turning it and turning it just to get the straight cut. I realized that because I was using a power saw, I was also melting the plastic, which is maybe why cutting was so difficult. So maybe if you use a hand saw, it's easier. This was a big day for Vlad and I. We built quite a few things. He worked on the bench, I worked on the drawer for the fridge, and the toilet basket. I botched the first toilet basket I made, but I got it right the second time around. If we were smarter, we would have made the angle on the toilet basket match the angle on the bench, but it's not far off, so I guess we can do that next time. It's great to have Vlad around. His knowledge on a lot of things really helps, and super thankful that he's helping me build some of these cabinets and some of these things, as I probably would just waste a whole bunch of wood and materials and just really mess this whole thing up. So thanks, Vlad. Welcome to the swivel seat from hell. If your Ford Transit has the emergency brake as a pedal, you can likely skip this step, and I am super jealous. Mine doesn't. I had to lower the handbrake to install the swivel seat in order for it to turn around entirely. After I took the chair and the handbrake cover off, I saw how much surface rust there was and knew this might go wrong. Little did I know. When I tried to take one of the bolts off, it completely crumbled. I tried a chisel, I tried smaller sockets, I tried extractor sockets, everything under the sun. So I got fed up and decided to cut it out. Then after reading more instructions, I realized that I have to cut all of the bolts off to replace them with the ones from Scopema. So on your van, you might not have to cut your bolts off, but mine were all spot welded, and there's really no way around it but to cut it off and drill a hole in that spot. Luckily, the replacement bolts are also grade 8 bolts, so they're equally as strong as the OEM ones, and you shouldn't have any fear with them snapping or anything like that. Also, don't forget that the sheet metal underneath the van is very sharp and can cut the brake line cover as it moves up and down, so be careful with that. Having 2 people would help. I didn't have that luxury, so I had to jump in and out of the van and take a look underneath to see whether or not we're damaging anything. The electrical system has been one of the more daunting installs I'm planning to do. I went with an all Victron system and 2 206 amp hour lithium batteries from SOK. These are the self-heated ones, just for that extra protection in the winter. I got the entire kit from Curious Camper Vans. They've been an absolutely awesome supplier for parts. So if you're building a van in Canada, I strongly recommend you use them for parts. They're great. Thank you so much, Jordan, Ashley, Taylor. I really appreciate your guys' help. I started by measuring out how much space I have in the van, then made some markings on the floor just to place everything within that area. I plan on doing a full video on the electrical system, so I'll go into more details there. This was mostly to test out the wiring diagram I'm working with and how I can make that layout fit my space. I also needed to figure out some dimensions so I can build a box and house all of these components. Now, on the left side there, you can see my S-bar furnace. That bad boy should keep this bad boy warm all winter long when I'm back in the van after long days of shreddy shreds in the Rockies. So that's it for this week's episode, or this episode, these 2 weeks, I don't know. Anyways, that's all I got for you guys. Please let me know if you like the format or not. I'm looking for a little bit of feedback there. And yeah, see you in 2 weeks. Peace out. Keep rolling.